All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Cruising is Live podcast. We're back with another episode. After a brief little hiatus there, we are back, and we've got the whole gang here. Justin and Dimitri are both back. What's going on, guys?
Hello.
But yeah, we've got a really exciting one earlier this week. Kind of unexpected to just about everybody, I feel like, was that we got some news of a brand new ship class, which was not on my bingo card. I wasn't expecting at least this one.
Yeah, I thought they were going to say something about a bigger class, but it's an interesting announcement.
Right, exactly. I think that's what everybody else was expecting too. And just like, I don't know, like all the other cruise lines right now, like we've known about Carnival's for a new class for a while. We've known about Norwegian's got a new project under wraps, and Royal's doing their thing with like 50,000 Icon class ships. So like getting the order of something brand new that we haven't really seen before was kind of awesome and exciting too.
Very true.
For sure.
But anyways, so yeah, pretty much everything came out from MSC earlier this week. The rumor kind of trickled out Friday afternoon, but all the rumors were basically saying stay tuned for Monday morning, essentially. And then Monday morning, we got the announcement of Project New Frontiers from MSC, which is a very interesting one by itself, because one, it's not the one we were expecting, but two, it comes from Meyer Pappenberg, who's never built for MSC before in the past.
Which is interesting because the biggest ships they put out there are 180. So that's like the biggest they can go.
Right, exactly. This is the absolute max that they can do, which is pretty cool. Like that they're making it to where they can max themselves out, or like, just doing absolutely everything they can to get something to fit, which I feel like they kind of need. That shipyard is kind of struggling in the first place with the fact that they're running out of space. They can't build anything larger than that, and so but everybody else is building larger than that, so there's really no business for them. Coming out of COVID, it was pretty much like it was empty almost. So now they're, Disney kind of held them above water here for a bit, and then now MSC kind of swooped in to rescue them.
I would assume, would you guys agree it's not going to be a split superstructure because of the size?
That's actually a good question. I would assume no, but we've never seen it done under 200,000 tons. We've never seen a split superstructure for something that small. Not that this is a small ship, but that would be interesting to see, though.
Sure. I don't, like Dimitri said, I think there's size, limits to doing a split structure, at least. Yeah. I mean, probably structurally it'll be fine, but I guess, for usage, it wouldn't be ideal. Like, you couldn't really do too much if it was too narrow. So they'll probably go back to a solid, I guess, type structure.
A regular one.
Yeah, a regular one, I guess.
A regular one, yeah.
The bro said
it would be cool though, and it's funny that you bring up the split superstructure, because I didn't know this until recently, but I guess friends of ours, the Brick executive who makes YouTube videos, he does all those giant Lego builds of cruise ships. He actually did a video recently about some old scrapped Carnival ships, and there was an old project prior to Pinnacle that was like 140,000 tons. So it was about, the size of Getaway from Norwegian. But it had a huge central park and a split structure, a huge central park down the middle. So I'm like, well, there was a lot of inspiration for the eventual Oasis class with that. But like, two, didn't know that. That's kind of crazy. But also, to the point, like, can you make something with a split superstructure that small? Not that, 180 is small.
I'll make it work.
I mean, if you're creative enough, it'll work.
I mean, I think they would just
how space efficient that is, though.
Right. Exactly.
And I think they would just take the space that if they were to do that, they would just take the space that they had and just do something different with it. Like it wouldn't have to be a central park, like it could be anything. Right. So I guess in that term, they would just design it to fit with what they had.
Right. And, like we've seen already from them with the split superstructure of the world class, they have, it's considered the world promenade, even though it's not like the main promenade like we would expect on Royal. But, yeah, it's pretty cool that, they have some sort of concept like that. And it's something that we still haven't quite seen because it's nothing like the boardwalk, but it's nothing like the Central Park either. So I mean, if they were to do something like that, that would be really interesting.
Did anything else? Obviously, I don't think anything else came out. Right. That's kind of all we know.
Right. So kind of the gist of what we know, and so the rest of this is going to be just us kind of spitballing ideas, essentially. But I see you two giggling at the trains in the background.
The auto train coming through.
You are not slick.
I apologize.
Not slick.
Auto train, baby, it's coming through.
The only one in the world. Come on, people.
Everyone take a look.
Everybody.
The train coming through. That's hilarious.
But yeah, essentially all we know about this class, though, is that it's going to be 180,000 tons, and it seems like double occupancy is 5,400, which is roughly just a little bit smaller than what Grandiosa is capacity-wise. Grandiosa, I think, is about 56 or so. So, like capacity-wise, even max capacity, we're probably still looking around 6,000, which is much lower than Grandiosa. And I feel like we probably should get that out ahead of time, but a lot of comparisons are going to be made to Grandiosa and that Meraviglia Plus class of ship. And I feel like that's mostly because they share the same size when it comes to tonnage, but that's like the only similarity that they're probably going to share. These are nothing like really anything we've ever seen before from MSC or anybody. It's not a stretched version of, an existing class. It's not, a jumbo-sized world class or a smaller world class. It's nothing like that. So like the only similarity that this shares with anything else that we've seen from MSC is just the tonnage is close to Grandiosa.
I got it.
Yeah. But it's a big size. It's a really big size ship too. I mean, 180 is nothing to really to kind of just brush off like as if it's nothing. I mean, like nowadays everybody's building over 200,000, but 180 is still huge.
Not everybody wants 200,000 people.
Right,
nobody.
Exactly.
And I'm tired of going to St. Thomas, St. Martin, Nassau, and Cozumel. I'm tired.
I mean, you're not
He's
wrong.
Done.
You're not
I'm
wrong.
done.
I mean,
I'm done.
There's essentially nowhere else to go, and the Caribbean, at least, all these big ships are designed for the Caribbean, but even with the Caribbean itineraries and islands being able to hold these large ships, I mean, there's still only so many places you can go here. I mean, either you're going to go Western Caribbean, you go to Costa Maya, Cozumel, Belize, and Honduras, or you're going to go Eastern and go to St. Thomas, St. Martin, San Juan.
Pretty much. I think that's why these cruise lines are investing heavily in private destinations.
Right, exactly. And they can tailor into their, whether it's a good or bad thing, I have my opinions about it. I think it's good that they're doing it because it's offering, a certain type of thing that we don't get out of just a normal market. But at the same time, it's also kind of monetizing the destination, so it has its pluses and minuses. Maybe that's a topic for another day, but yeah, I mean, at least like with these though, you can kind of tailor the ship and tailor your own destination to the size of ship that you're building.
Right.
Right.
I applaud the Dominican Republic though. They have like 2 new ports coming, and Samana is pretty much almost open. I don't know.
Oh, that's right. That's the new place in Dominican where Star of the Seas is going to go, right? They have a couple Royal ships going.
Yeah, Star has ports of call.
Yeah.
Virgin has already started going.
Oh, really? Interesting.
So, yeah, Virgin was there. They go every week now, I think.
That's really
Virgin seems to be going to a lot of these new places first. I think they did the same thing when Bimini opened. I mean, Bimini's nothing crazy, but I think when they first started doing cruises or having cruise ships come, like Virgin was the first one to go. It's interesting.
Right, exactly. And actually, I thought at first Bimini was supposed to be like a private destination for, even though Bimini's, just public island in the Bahamas, but I thought that was supposed to be like a private destination for Virgin for a while there. But it seems like not too long after, they just kind of gave up on it and were like, yeah, anybody can go.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, and I think the name New Frontiers is probably like just like a little hint of what we can expect from these two. You don't name a new project New Frontiers and then just send it to Cozumel. You know what I mean?
Good point. That's a good point.
It's coming to Tampa, obviously.
It's coming to Tampa.
Yeah, it's a whole new frontier, baby.
Right, exactly. So I mean, like dare I say it's like their version of the Discovery class. Obviously, the Discovery class from Royal is not going to be 180,000 tons, but like, are they going to go to like more exotic and crazy destinations versus what they've done in the past? Are they going to enter new markets with these? Or are we going to end up with, one of these pairing up with some of the world classes here in Miami or Port Canaveral? I think, I mean, I think there's just like a lot of possibilities. And I think, New Frontiers is probably just a really good hint at what we can expect too.
Yeah, and I mean MSC does, maybe not hear it out of the States, but they do have some pretty unique itineraries on some cruises. Like World Europa was like in Dubai at one point, or somewhere over there. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something along those lines where it just goes to like places that even very few people have been to. I mean, maybe on our side of the world, it's not like the Mediterranean, it would be something pretty exotic like that.
Right, exactly. I mean, there's so many possibilities they can go. And like you said, like all the way over into Dubai, like having having a ship over in Dubai, who else does that? Like maybe an NCL ship when it's like passing through.
Right.
At best, like MSC is one of the only ones that
offer
something
that. In Africa.
Something like that. Yeah, I think Dawn was doing it last year.
Or Dawn, yeah.
No, Stars in Tampa. Stars in Tampa.
I know, not now. I'm talking about like a couple months ago. Could they left the people in Africa and they were mad? They tried to sue Norwegian because they were 2 hours late.
Yeah,
I thought that was Dawn.
Was that?
Mad. They were mad.
I think that was Dawn.
Was it Dawn?
Whatever. I mean, they're sister ships. It's fine.
Same thing.
They get the idea.
But yeah, I mean, they can. And there's also, the Asia cruise market. I feel like they want to kind of grow over there too at some point. I feel like even though World Asia isn't going to Asia to start out with, I feel like, she probably eventually would. Like, they're going to start expanding into new areas, even like outside of the US, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So like,
that's just what they do.
It could be, yeah, exactly. They're a European cruise line. They're not here just for the American cruise market. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sorry, my cat's
the
climbing
thing is,
all over
they
me.
have the the unlimited cash flow from their backup sister company that not a lot of other companies have the opportunity to grab at.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
MSC has the ability to throw money at the wall knowing it's not going to stick, and they'll still do it anyways. Right. And I think that's what this class is. I think they're just kind of having fun. The Constellation class, Constellation class, for those who don't know, is kind of that rumored Icon-sized, larger than Icon project from MSC. For all we know, they're still working on it. I mean, who's to say they're not? I mean, why wouldn't they be? Just because Royal blocked the deal over at Meyer Turku doesn't mean they're not going to just take the order and place it somewhere else. If anybody's going to do something crazy like that and something that nobody else can do financially, it would be MSC. to do something like that, where they were like, oh, okay, well, we're just going to build something else while we keep working on the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? That's what Royal kind of did that when they were doing the Oasis class. That's where the Freedom class came from. They want when they wanted to do it wasn't the right time, so they just extended the Voyager class. And then when the economy was a little bit better, that's when they did the Oasis class.
Right, exactly. And like to your point, like when the economy got better, they did that, and that's why we didn't get the Pinnacle project from Carnival's, because the economy tanked right when they went to go buy or like put in the order.
Right.
So I feel like, and I've thought about this the other day, but like I feel like the cruise industry and Carnival itself would be a whole different place if the Pinnacle existed. Like I couldn't even imagine.
That would have been revolutionary at the time.
Like we wouldn't have, I think it was the Liberty and Freedom that got placed. Those orders got placed in lieu of Pinnacle. So like, just think of like Liberty and Freedom, not, physically, but like, like those two ships likely wouldn't have existed if we built something that was over double the size.
Right.
Which is crazy to think about. But yeah, and I see it up in the chat here as well, but it is cool just to think about, like, they were able to save Meyer Papenburg, the shipyard, essentially. Like they were starting to get bailed out by the government, like over in Germany. Like they were struggling after COVID. Like,
yeah, but aren't they all under the same conglomerate of Mayer XXXX? So don't they all own each other?
I thought so, but I guess Papenburg is probably, I guess, different because, or at least like, they're all their own individual pieces though. Still,
I was gonna say, so is it like Nissan and Infinity, where they're like owned by like the same person, but like two different things?
Right. But yeah, I mean,
like, I don't know.
But still, like, regardless, like, they still had almost zero orders for a while there. They were literally just building the Triton class for Disney, and that was about all they had. And then now, like, we've got the last two XL class from Carnival coming from there, and then they've got the new Disney ships coming from there, and obviously finishing up. Okay, I see in the chat the Meyer family were forced out of their company is what it was. So they probably are all owned independently under the Meyer name. So that makes more sense. But yeah, they kind of just pulled this out. I mean, that was a almost $11 billion deal that they just sank into Meyer Papenburg. And I feel like that is like only starting the partnership with these two, with MSC and Meyer Papenburg too. Like, it's the first time we've ever seen a ship come from, like, they've ever worked together. But with the way they just bailed them out with this kind of crazy deal, like, why wouldn't they continue to work together? I know size is their biggest limitation, and we're gonna figure out where that goes down the road. But who's to say they don't? I'm not talking Constellation class here, but who's to say that when they wrap up these new Frontier ships, they don't order another that's similar in size, or alterations and things like that, or maybe there's expansions that get done down the road. That's going to be way difficult to do, but just for the sake of like spitballing, who's to say that they can't, make infrastructure adjustments, as difficult as it would be to get bigger ships in there. But it is good to see though, because like they have Meyer Papenburg built some of the best ships. Like, in my opinion, like some of my favorite ships come from that shipyard. Like the Breakaway Plus, the Breakaway class, the Quantum class all came from there. Like there was a point in time where they were pumping out 2 like very high quality ships a year for like the longest time.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's all you saw, like in the late 2010s, was them just building stuff,
just pumping, like legitimately just pumping them out. And yeah, like I remember it was it was almost staggered. Like we would get, it was like Quantum, then the next ship out was Escape, then the next ship after Escape was Anthem, then it was Joy, then it was Ovation. Like it was literally just like the two of the biggest cruise lines at that point, two of the top three at least, just pumping out literally each one got a ship every single year from this cruise line or from this shipyard. And like they were some of the best, ships in the industry. Like it wasn't like these were, poorly reviewed ships. Like they were great designs, they were great build quality. Like there's rarely ever any issues that came out of that shipyard. Like we see stuff like Fincantieri, some of the ships, like the Sphere class, like Princess, like Sun Princess had a lot of issues, with things not being finished in time, delays. Like despite the tight schedule, Papenburg was always delivering like on time, and it was always completely done.
True. Princess kind of got screwed over with that. I mean, it's not a huge deal, but
yeah,
so I can see why, you would stay away from a certain shipyard, but
yeah. Radiance, I see in the chat, Jaco, thank you. Radiance class, Jewel class from Norwegian, Quantum class, Solstice class, Breakaway Plus. Like they built. I mean, those are all some like the better ship classes out there. And MSC knows how to build a good ship too. Like their ship designs are very good. Seaside might be interesting, right, but it's overall, I mean, it's a very pretty looking ship, very unique looking and everything, but like it's still a very, very nice ship and just laid out in a very unique way. But then you have like the Meraviglia ships are very pretty looking ships, even the world class are just very well laid out and thought out too. So like, these two collaborating, I think we're going to end up with a pretty good treat here when it comes to both of these knowing how to build a good ship and design a good ship.
I was going to say they won't mess it up, but I mean, it is interesting to see where they'll show it. I mean, MSC doesn't really have, they need to start pumping out more ships because just like Carnival, just like Norwegian, I mean, there's smaller ships like Lyrica and even the Fantasia class. Like, I mean, those are starting to get up there in years. And if you don't start thinking,
I eventually think they're gonna get phased out as those old Lyrica, Musica, Opera, like all those little ones. They're eventually gonna get phased out probably within the next couple of years. So I think that's also part of what MSC is probably wanting to do is revitalize their fleet to where everything's more modern and larger, to where even like when they're doing these larger or more exotic itineraries, like they're doing those with World Europa. Like they don't need a tiny ship to accomplish that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like with World Europa too, like it might be really tall, but it's really short, like in length, to where, like a lot of the issues with the Oasis class and the Icon class is that they're so long. And that's why they can't get into some of these ports. Like they don't seem to really have too much of an issue with these tight European ports because they're so much shorter in length. So, I mean, and if that's what they do with this one too, I mean, they could build it really small to where they have no issues, pulling it into some of these really tight ports, but they're really, really tall. You know what I mean?
And when was the time frame for these? I don't know if you already said.
So actually the first one, I didn't mention that yet, but yes, the first one of these is due out in 2030, and there's 4 total in this order with an option for 2 more. So most likely, if we're being honest, like it's MSC here, we're going to get 6 of these. They're going to be every single year, pretty much starting in 2030. So 30, 31, 32, all the way through 2035, essentially. So yeah, I mean, given how much and how quickly and how much MSC wants to expand, like we're going to end up with 6 of these. it's only a matter of time before they execute those options. And then, yeah, like I literally started what I was going to say and I forgot what I was going to say.
I mean, it basically comes down to that we don't really know too much. It was
right.
It was a pretty basic announcement that they basically just said, "Hey, we're building ships." It's kind of what it was.
Exactly, and I think that was kind of the big deal in itself, and that was kind of I feel like a new ship class announcement is worthy of it, even if we don't know too much. Like, it's fun to just at least kind of speculate and talk about what we can kind of think and guess about these ships, but I do think that we're going to see these relatively soon. They were pretty quick to turn around on those, the world class originally. Well, they ordered those back in 2017 or something like that. And then they literally showed it off like a month later.
Yeah.
Like we had those World Europa renderings for like a good 5 years before the ship even came out in 2022. So, I mean, if we're kind of going along with trends, I wouldn't be too surprised if we see, a render of these new ships probably within the next, 2 to 3 months.
Right.
So, little news at a time. You got to keep building the hype, and MSC likes to stay in the forefront of the news. I feel like they literally just ordered World 5 and 6. Then they're like, you know what, we're a little bored. We order 7 and 8, and then about a month or two went by with no news, and they're like, let's just order new ships like completely. So I think MSC just likes to kind of have the attention on them right now, which is a good thing, given that they're trying to kind of not steal the spotlight. I don't think they're going to steal the spotlight from Royal anytime soon, but they're kind of gunning for that spot of number one.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. They're definitely doing. I mean, that's why they have their newest ship in Miami right now on the same day that Icon's there, and they talk about. I mean, come on,
face to face.
So,
but yeah. But I do see in the chat, are these just a quick question of these being smaller or larger than Seashore? These will be just a little bit larger than Seashore, just by a few thousand tons. But yeah, like these will, I think, yeah, these are just kind of there to challenge Royal a little bit too, is just to, say, hey, yeah, we're not backing off. Like, our foot's on the gas. Even if you tried to, even though you blocked us with that Constellation class order over in Meyer, Finland, like, we're still not backing off. We're still going to keep building more ships elsewhere, and just kind of keep poking the bear, essentially, that Royal is. And that's a good thing. I love Royal. I think they're the best out there right now. MSC's got a bit of a way to go, but they're new. But they also listen really well to customer feedback. And so they've made improvements a lot over the last couple of years. So, I mean, who's to say? And, they keep listening and they keep improving. I mean, with the size of the ships that they've got and everything like that, I mean, why wouldn't they be just as good as Royal in 10 years from now?
Right.
So, and that's, Royal has to kind of watch out for that a little bit. I mean, again, they've got the record they've got the top spot by a long shot right now, but who's to say in a couple of years they don't close the gap. I mean, they're closing the gap fast on Carnival and Norwegian.
Definitely on Norwegian. Norwegian's slacking right now.
And Norwegian kind of just always does their own thing.
Yeah.
Like Norwegian's just kind of there, and they're like not doing it.
Norwegian just kind of like, yeah, exactly. They like to be here. They don't like to be at the top spot. They don't want to be in the spotlight. But they're here. They're still, honestly, like they offer a very high quality ship. What's that?
I said they're with us. The lights are on. I mean, the lights are on and somebody is home. I guess the new CEO just got appointed. Maybe he'll start whipping them in the shade.
Right. And
maybe.
Yeah, I mean, again, even back like in the early 2000s when we were starting to get like the Freedom class and the early Oasis class ships, like, you know, we were just getting our first little step with the mega ships, like with Epic. But like prior to that, like everything was under 100,000 tons. Like they've always done their own thing for like the longest time. They kind of dabble and they do their own unique twists on it, which I think is funny because that's what they kind of did with the Prima class. And now we see Royal wanting to go and downsize to the Project Discovery. These aren't downsizing nearly to the point where Prima class is, but these are also downsizing from the mega ships. Like, you know, Norwegian kind of, you know, they had some hiccups along the way to start out with. They were, you know, tripped coming out of the gate, but the Prima class are doing quite well now that they've been out for a few years. Mm-hmm. And I think everybody else is kind of like, okay, like you can do a lot with little, you know what I mean? So just because these ships from MSC aren't going to be mega ships over 200,000 tons doesn't mean they're not going to be packing, you know, really high quality experiences through there.
Yeah, and it was never really a point that, you know, going smaller was bad to accommodate things. It was more of just the way Norwegian handled it with the first two.
Yeah.
I just think they missed the boat on that one.
Yeah, because they tried to pack
you know,
everything from Encore into Prima, which was a
right
lot
instead
smaller.
of making it unique to that particular size. So that's all. Honestly, I think even if you go smaller these days, you can do a lot with it. I mean, even back then you could. So I'm not too worried about that. It's good to have smaller right now.
And I think they learned a little bit because Aqua has definitely been a huge improvement. You know, just from making it a little bit larger. And I'm sure Luna is going to be the same. But, you know, when they get the last two that are bigger than Encore, like I'm sure everything is going to be completely ironed out. Just from my quick little...
A lot of people don't want those big ships.
Right, exactly.
So
and that's why they built those.
Yeah.
Right. They built those so they, yes, not everybody, especially... Norwegian's audience out of all of them is the audience that doesn't want the big mega ships. Like I'm surprised they even ordered these 200,000 ton ships that they did, because their audience is
because that's a few in there.
Right, exactly. Well, they got to keep up somehow. Like, but Norwegian can probably offer that same like traditional cruise experience that they are known for with that 200,000 ton ship. But you know. But yeah, like if anybody was going to downsize first, it was going to be Norwegian because, you know, they are more focusing on the traditional type of cruising rather than offering these giant, you know, mega resort type of ships like we see on the Icon.
Right.
Carnival just keeps... Carnival does it to themselves. With all their decisions lately, Carnival's just hurting themselves. Like they're making it easy for MSC to keep going, but
pretty much
that's neither here nor there. Carnival has a lot of opportunity, and they just don't ever capitalize it. They've historically just never capitalized on being able to execute, you know, when they should. Pinnacle Project is like the biggest example of that. Like, again, the industry would be a completely different place had they gone through with the Pinnacle Project, because they would have been in direct competition with the Oasis class. We'd probably see something bigger than Icon already had Pinnacle gone through, because then it would have been a size race, at least through the early, you know, 2010s.
Right.
But yeah. But Carnival is at least got their Project Ace coming up, so we'll see what happens with those. But at least, you know, MSC keeps... And MSC kind of took a lot of their audience too, with, you know, all the loyalty status stuff that Carnival is doing right now. It kind of irritated a lot of their fan base. But MSC's like, oh, by the way, we offer status matching, so if you're upset by that, we don't reset your status, by the way, but we'll match what you got already. So come in at gold status.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carnival's I don't know what's going on with them, but I think they'll come around. They'll come back.
I think Ace is gonna start, kind of propelling them in the right direction, though. I mean, again, I don't hate a Carnival.
Yeah.
I like Carnival a lot. I've cruised with them like 20-something times,
I
and
mean, the ships are nice.
the ships are
It's
very
just
nice. I love
other
the Excel
issues.
class. Right. It's not a ship issue. It's a company issue. They just
big time.
I'd love to go on Festival if I had the opportunity. Probably would, but it's also you get these ships like Icon. You get Icon. Even Norwegian Luna, like, to me, was a little bit more appealing, than some of the other ones. But you get the MSC World Class. You get all these other mega ships that are coming out. It's like, okay, like, as cool as Carnival looks, like, at least for me personally, like, I will gravitate towards the other stuff. I think Carnival still has a few things that can try to implement to kind of draw the crowd back in. I think Mardi Gras was a good step, because what Mardi Gras did good is they got a lot of Royal Caribbean cruisers to try them.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Didn't matter if they converted them into loyal Carnival cruisers or not. They took a little bit of business out of Royal Caribbean with Mardi Gras, because people were like, oh wow, they actually can build a big ship, and it like looks really good and it has a lot to offer. Like, that was their first step into like the mega ship type of game there, because prior to that we just had the Panorama and the rest of the Vista class that was like 130, which Royal was doing that in 1999.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But I do see Coop has a. Let me just go off a couple questions here that we have in our live chat here. Do we think MSC announced these to take spotlight from Royal opening their Nassau destination today?
I didn't even think about that.
I honestly, yeah. Well, other than the fact that we know Adam is over there, but
I didn't even put two and two together that he was on it because of
that. Yeah.
We didn't even put two and two together until I saw what's his name, Loyal to Royals post. I was like, oh, everybody's on. Trevin Childs and Wonder.
Yeah, everybody's on Wonder right now because it opened up today, which is pretty cool.
But isn't it Wonder and Utopia?
No, it was Liberty. I wonder if Liberty guests were able to go.
Oh, interesting. That is interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder if they were allowed.
I don't know, because I feel like the Royal Beach Club opening up was probably like a little. I guess that was a smaller event, like a small little beach club isn't a new ship. It's not, a new project. It's not, an entirely new private island. It's just kind of like a quick little excursion, if you will. So I don't know if it has the same magnitude, but it definitely distracted us. Other than the fact that, we have a friend that's over there, checking out Beach Club today.
Consider myself distracted.
Exactly. It doesn't take much, but consider me distracted. But yeah, it is interesting though. I also see Coop said, do we have any predictions of the names? These are so far out. We don't even know what these look like yet.
MSC Ballerina.
Gonna be MSC Koopman.
Yeah, MSC Koopman.
That's what I heard.
Yeah,
confirmed.
I feel like we'd have to get. Usually, the first ship in the class sets the pace for naming. So I wonder if we'll, once we see the ship and they give us the first name, then probably eventually we'll get an idea of what to expect. But honestly, I have no idea what we could get as far as names for these. Yeah, like with the world class, with Europa and then America, that set the pace. So now we know to expect regions of the world like Asia, Atlantic, and what else we may get, whether it's Pacific or Oceania or whatever it is,
Right.
So yeah. So I guess my question, because we've touched on it a little bit, but do you think we're going to get the... I see the trains going in the background again.
Another train.
But I've touched on it a little bit, but like, what are our thoughts? Because these aren't the ones that we expected. This isn't the ship class or project that we expected.
Negative.
Do we think that Constellation, Ultimate, whatever you want to call them, do you think these are still happening? Like, are we going to get both?
Yeah. All of the above.
I think so. They should. There's no reason for them not to.
Yeah.
Maybe just timing wise, it didn't work out right now, but.
Right. And I think that's the biggest issue. Is just timing, because like everybody's booked up right now. And, like, Shantiers is booked up. Royal locked down the entire Meyer Turku for 10 years, so that's out of the question. So,
yeah.
Like, there's a lot of different shipyards, and I feel like that's why we went with Papenburg too with the Frontier class, is availability, just quick and easy. They were able to. These are getting turned out in 4 years, essentially.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a very fast turnaround. Like, I mean, what is it? Like the World Class, we got the announcement back in like 2017, and we didn't get the first one until, late 2022. So like almost 5 to 6 years. The Icon class was ordered back in 2020 or 2016. We didn't get usually a 6, 7, maybe even 8-year turnaround time for some of these, but like these are coming out in 4 years. Like, I know 2030 sounds like a long way away, but like 2 weeks from now, we're going to be in 2026.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
It is crazy to think about. And I think these are going to also, they're little test dummies as well, if you want to call them that, to try out new technologies, try out new, just new features. Like, why not?
So this is way out of topic. So Brandon, you're not allowed to hurt me since you just said new technology, new features. Whatever happened to the few rooms on Sun and Star Princess that were facial recognition? Did that ever catch on?
Fincantieri might be able to answer that question. Didn't do it.
I haven't heard people complain about them. Like, you know what I mean?
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, I didn't even remember. I know Star of the Seas might have wanted to do it. I know Royal wants to do it. They just, I feel like that would be hard and tough to do. Facial recognition.
I thought that some rooms on like Sun and Star Princess had what do you call it? Facial recognition. Sorry, that was my little tangent of the night.
No, and who's to say that we don't see that on here?
True. No.
I know, like, MSC has like a goal of going net zero by 2050. I mean, who's to say they don't try out some sort of crazy new fuel technology on this? We already have the Celebrity Excel that runs off of ethanol or methanol fuel. So I'm like, that's different. Do we get a hybrid cruise ship, like a hybrid car? Like, I mean,
that ain't happening.
That's some crazy technology we're putting in a ship, but again, like MSC, they're pretty big on trying to be environmentally friendly. All these cruise lines are, despite like having these crazy mega ships and like everybody's like, oh wow, look how much that pollutes. But it's also like, yeah, these cruise lines make their business off of the oceans. Like, why are we going to destroy them, now when, right. Destroy them. If we destroy the oceans, we destroy our business. So like a lot of these cruise lines are looking to go net zero and just try to be like clean with some of these. So, and actually I see in the chat, MSC Meraviglia did do an actual net zero cruise one time. But it shows it's possible. It's already possible today. Whereas in 20 years from now, it's probably going to be, probably a lot more easy with newer technologies too.
Yeah.
And I think Euribia has like a special fuel type already because some of the ports they wanted to go to in Northern Europe were like, oh well, you're gonna have to
We're not letting you
do
stop here.
yeah, you can't stop here unless you do this really expensive and really rare fuel type. And they're like, okay, we'll do it. And there they are. And then, but they also have their own marine conservation, thing that they do. Like the MSC Foundation is like a whole thing with like conserving the oceans and marine biology and things like that. And their private island alone, Ocean Key, was a industrial wasteland, and they converted it into, this beautiful private island. They restored the reefs. They restored all the natural life there. Like, I mean, they're pretty good with that, and they actually do follow through with a lot of like their pushes towards environment contributions in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, who's to say we don't get some sort of like crazy new efficiency technology? And again, probably in 5 years, the way the technology goes nowadays, 5 years from now, we're probably gonna have some sort of like technology is gonna progress and things are gonna become more efficient too. Just by switching out ships to go from incandescent bulbs to LEDs drastically reduced, the amount of power consumption that these ships have. So, it'll be interesting to see. But other than that, I guess, so to kind of follow a little bit of, Euribia being kind of like that weird one where they spent a lot of money to where it could go somewhere else. Where do you think we might get these ships?
I think we'll get one here.
It has to.
Yeah, maybe not the first one, but I think one will end up here.
I think so too. I think we'll at least get one of them, but as of right now, like the focus like here for the US is probably the world class. Like we've still got whether we realize it or not, like with Atlantic coming, like we've already got 2 of them, but like there's 4 more on the way after Atlantic. So, I mean, we're probably going to get a lot more here, and they're probably going to, and the world class are a little bit more, well suited for the US.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's going to be the main focus. But again, could these, just given the name, could these be a Discovery class, like a big, Project Discovery from MSC? Like or Alaska. Alaska's a new, I just saw it pop up in the chat. But Alaska, like they just started going into Alaska, like I think it's starting next year. Like who's to say they don't send it over to Alaska, have it do, Alaska and then Caribbean in the winters.
True, yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, or Asia in the winter.
They do want to kind of expand over in Asia. I think Royal is wanting to eventually get back over there, and MSC wants to beat him to the punch. Again, this whole sense of competition here between those two. And I love to see this competition, though.
Mm-hmm.
Good for us.
Right.
A lot of new ships.
Competition's good for everybody. It's good for Royal. It's good for MSC. It's good for everybody involved, because at the end of the day, the competition, they're always going to continue to try to one-up each other. And that only benefits us because we're getting a better and better product every time. We're getting a better and better cruise experience. We're getting a better ship. Like all these things, like it's just going to breed better ships overall over the next, decade. Just seeing these two go at it, regardless of how far ahead that Royal is right now, Royal can kind of sit back and relax, but they do need to be careful because they can't get too comfortable, or they're going to, MSC's going to creep up on them. Especially if we get that Constellation class still. I think, and I think, to kind of go along with that, building 8 ships of the same time, and both of them are guilty of it because we're about to get 8 Oasis class, or I guess 7 technically, but we've also got 6 Icons on order, but we've got 8 World Class on order, or total eventually. Like, I think it's going to breed smaller class sizes when it comes to the number of them, because you kind of have to keep, if you're going to keep one-upping each other, you got to build something different. You know what I mean? So I think gone will be the days where we get, 6 all the way up to 8 ships in the single class. Like, that was pretty unheard of until, these bigger cruise lines kind of got comfortable. Like even Carnival, like Festival and Tropical probably should have been an ace class in the first place. We should have tried to, get the 3 done and we'll move on to the next one. And I think that was the original plan, but it was probably easier for them to build 2 more than the ace class, but it is what it is.
At least we're getting them. I'll take it.
Right, exactly. I mean, I'm never going to complain about a new ship for sure. I do, and again, I see Panama Canal mentioned in the chat. I mean, I feel like, New Frontiers, I feel like they're going to build these things to go wherever they want. I mean, I think Panama Canal cruises, not that MSC does very many of them in the first place, or, will build it just to do it, but why would you have a name like that and not have it, capable of going through the canal and to go quickly and easily to some of these destinations? Right. Especially if they're going to do Alaska. That's like the biggest issue with the Quantum class is like we don't get any of them in Florida, but they all go to Alaska because they can't go through the canal. And that's part of what they're trying to build with the Project Discovery is something that can go through the canal.
Gives them more access to different, areas. Like some of these ships are kind of stuck where they're at unless they want to go like the long way. So
right, exactly.
Smart. I mean, it's definitely smart. I think they knew that was going to happen when they built these ships, but after a while, you're like, all right, like we need we want a new ship, and we want it to go to other places. So I mean, only makes sense to go smaller. At least those dimensions to fit. So
right, the infrastructure can't change. Like it takes millions or billions of dollars to change the infrastructure of the ports that you're going to. You can design a ship around infrastructure. You can't design infrastructure around a ship nearly as easy. And you're not also going to just design it around a cruise ship just to, unless it's something that there's not very many places that thrive that much off of the cruise industry that have that type of limitation, at least right now. But yeah, like it's easier to build a ship around the destination than to build the destination for the ship. I feel like, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so yeah, that's really all I've got. Any other comments from you guys about these new ships or?
No, we touched it all. I mean, there's just not
much
to
and see what it says.
Right, yeah, exactly. I think that's kind of the biggest thing is like, it's fun to kind of just spitball ideas, but we're only going to find out more as we go on. Again, I think we're going to get at least a rendering here pretty soon. Not like, any day this week or, this month, next month or whatever, but like, they were pretty quick to do it with past classes. So I feel like I don't see why we wouldn't get a render of these new ones here pretty soon too. But yeah, it's going to be very exciting. I think the cruise industry is in for a good time. This next, launching ourselves into the 2030s is going to be really fun. Seeing this new class come to life, watching, the Icon class dwindle down and, the assuming successor or, the Project Discovery class, what those bring for us and all these new ships from Carnival and Norwegian. So I think it's we're in for a good time over the next couple of years, just seeing all these new projects come to life and yeah. So
cool.
That'll wrap it up for today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of the Cruising is Life podcast. Lots of exciting things to come. Thank you for listening wherever you are, Apple, Spotify, here on YouTube, wherever you are. Thank you for listening and watching. Big thank you to all of our members that were here in the live chat today. Thank you so much for your support on the channel here. And with that, hope everybody has a good night. more ship spotting videos coming later on this week. And of course, tune into those live streams on the weekends for those ship sailaways. Have a good night, everybody.
Peace out,
Good
Girl
night.
Scout.
All right, we're done.